I've noticed that in the world of first-person shooters, generally the whole thing where you're trying to get from point A to point B, and in some cases unlinear gameplay such as Bioshock, well, generally, I've come to learn of Bioshock's predecessor, and that being the case, I've decided to review it. This would be The Darkness, 2K's serious attempt at attempting to get the whole first-person, really big first-person shooter out of the way. Now, let's get down to the basics. Darkness is generally a story of Jackie Estacado, a hitman adopted at a very early age to become the New York's best killing machine. Was adopted by Paulie Franchetti, who ends up pissing him off to the point where he decides to turn against this former family figure and completely question all of the mob ventures, and he ends up getting a good amount of hand from the old people in the mob, but that's beside the point. Generally, that aside, let's get to the part where I talk about this game for the crap hole that it is. And sorry that a lot of my reviews that actually have been very positive in the games, this game showed a lot less potential than it could have. Okay, let's get on to the gameplay. First off, it's a first-person shooter. What more can I say? You run around, you shoot people, you pick stuff up, you end up getting further and further in the game, point A, point B, etc., etc. Now, there are a lot of side quests I noticed, which seem to be the same quest. Kill this or pick up that. It's generally annoying when you're doing it for about the 16th time. I really don't know what else to say. There's like one decent mini-game in the whole thing, and one vehicle section, but that's beside the point. One thing I have to particularly complain about is the disamount of the stuff there is to collect. There are 6 different types of guns and 3 to 4 different power-ups. Now, for the supposed ultimate hitman that he is, Jackie can't seem to pick up a very much more variety in the guns he picks up, which generally seems to be the same 2 guns, only in more rapid fire or more power in this case. In the case of assault rifles or shotguns. But, in the terms of the darkness and the whole darkness powers thing, generally you'd figure the ultimate being who's been surviving through time, probably since before the Big Bang kicked in, generally would have a lot more power in his arsenal than 4 abilities. Come on. You can send a snake out, you can pale stuff, you form guns out of darkness, and you blow stuff up with a black hole. There's really a lot more that could be said for that. Okay, moving on. Sound. Sound is a big issue, because this is actually, I noticed, the first attempt at a little thing called vocab. Which is voice acting and motion capture. Now, the thing about it is that this allowed a lot more natural feel when communicating with certain characters. A lot of the motions were really fluid and seemed to go along with the voices. That aside, another really big aspect was the soundtrack, which is composed of orchestral, really eerie sort of sounds on a rare occasion, and the occasional metal mix when you get generally into the swing of things. In terms of characters, you have Jackie Estacado, as I mentioned. Looks like someone took the goth clique out of a local high school and stuffed it all in one person, generally. You have his main squeeze, who ends up getting her head blown off, generally through the first episode. You have Paulie, you have Eddie Schroed, Paulie's lapdog, and generally you have the characters who end up helping him out, which are the older members of the Mafia. Butcher Joyce, a really big guy who reminds me of my best friend Bob's dad. And Sarah, this kooky old woman who's very reminiscent of one of the comics. I have to interrupt this for a specific reason. Comics. This game is based off a comic series. And in terms of continuity with the comic series, this game fails miserably. First of all, it was not Paulie who adopted Jackie. It was Frankie, Don't Kill the Children Franchetti. And Paulie ends up coming in through about halfway through the first season of the comic books, which in this case ends up pissing me off because there's nothing more to do besides that. Continuity, also, 2 of the main villains, the Angelus and the Order of the Darkness, have been completely cut out, and generally that only gives you the opportunity to end up killing Mafia guys, which by the time you reach halfway through the game, it's like you killing a bunch of ants. But there are some moments when the game actually can kick your ass. I mean, there's easy difficulty, which is fairly good for starter people. There's normal difficulty for the typical gamer, and then there's hard difficulty for the freaking psychopaths. I'm actually playing through the game on hard difficulty right now. I'm on the 4th chapter, and generally, there are times when the game actually hands me my ass on a silver platter. That's another thing I have to complain about, is the fact that the game is too freaking short. And in terms of stuff to do, pretty much you run around doing, like I said, doing the same side quest, kills this, or kill random person A, or pick up random object B. But that aside, this game had so much more potential than 2K let on. It's really horrid. The fact that you only get 4 types of Darklings, 4 powers, and 6 kind of guns, 7 if you include the Darkness power-up, but that's beside the point. There's so many flaws in this game that could have been reprimanded if 2K had actually done a little bit better and delved deeper into the actual series. That aside, I'm going to actually have to give this game either a 5 or a 6 out of 10. Just for the fact that there was so many mistakes, so many flaws, and it really disappointed me on a couple of occasions. I mean, the continuity's messed, the gameplay's too simple, it's far too repetitive, the enemies are too predictable, and generally you find yourself either giving up or annoying the hell out of yourself by running back and forth between the different areas and having to wait a really long-ass time for the load times to kick in. Anyways, generally this has been my first review in a long time. I've actually been taking a lot of time to get my life in order. I got a haircut, I'm back in school, really working my ass off. But that aside, 5 out of 10. It's going to have to be settled because there were a lot of things that 2K could have done better, but they actually did wrong. Well, I'll generally be doing another review sooner or later now that I've got my computer working back up at a decent capacity. And generally I'll be doing something on the PSP with my emulated stuff. Yeah, I know that whole PSP emulated game talk finally went to hell, but I don't really give a shit because I'm actually enjoying myself playing PSX games on the PSP on the bus on the way home from school. That note, 5 out of 10, a lot more potential, but it really wasn't Access 2K. If you decide to do a sequel on this, and if you do it wrong, I'm running over to 2K headquarters and kicking the shit out of whoever I see fit to. On that lighter note, I'm down to 2 minutes, and I've actually had enough ranting for one day. I'll probably end up doing a review later tonight, give and take that I have to actually get back on schedule with this whole YouTube crap. Generally, that's it. 5 out of 10. This is Falzy, Darkness Review, 5 out of 10. 2K, you suck. See you guys later.